Hello, sixth graders. Let's review for the Unit 6 test. Your Unit 6 test is going to have 4 problems that look similar to these. Some of them will be word problems. If they're a word problem, you just need to figure out what unit do you have and what unit are you changing to. So for example, this first one, what unit we have is inches. What unit we're changing to is feet. I know how many inches I have. I want to figure out how many feet that is. Okay, so we're looking for an equivalent value. If we put a bunch of inch long pieces together and we had 12 of them, that would make a foot, right? So if I had 12 of these 68 inches, that would make 1 foot. Well, I have more than 12. So what I would do is I would divide by 12 to get how many feet are in 68 inches. And when I do that, I get 5.6, and it's actually repeating. Okay, so 5.6 repeating feet. That is not 5 feet 6 inches. That is 5 feet and 2/3 of a foot. Okay, 8 inches. So I think that's great. And I think most of you are going to be able to look at that and say, oh, am I multiplying or am I dividing? And you'll know, and you'll do a good job with it. But sometimes we'll get units we're not really sure. Like what's bigger, a pint or a quart? Things like that. And so what I want you to do is when you don't know, or even anytime, you can take and use your unit conversion chart here, and you can make a proportion. So I know I have inches and I know I have feet. So I'm going to find inches and feet together. Here it is. And I'm going to write that as a ratio. 1 foot has 12 inches. It doesn't matter what number's on the top and what number's on the bottom, but I like to include the label because that helps me with the second part. Then I know I have 68 inches. So I'm going to put 68 inches here. The reason I'm putting it on the bottom is because I want to match. I want feet to be with feet and inches to be with inches. And since inches started on the bottom, I'm going to put the second one on there to match. So I'm basically just matching what I already did. Then I can crisscross multiply those numbers and divide by the lonely guy. The thing with this is it's going to tell you if you're multiplying or dividing every time, because all you'll do is that same method. Crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy. Crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy. Over and over and over again. And so I'm going to do the rest of the problems that way, even though you might be thinking, well, Miss Larson, it's just easier to multiply by 2 or divide by 4 or whatever you need to do. If you know that, that's fine. But I'm trying to show you for if you don't know. So I have gallons and I have quarts. So when I'm going to look for that fact right here, gallons and quarts. So I have 1 gallon has 4 quarts. I know gallons. So that number is going to go on the top because I want to match my gallons with my gallons. Okay, and so the question mark, the one we don't know, is on the bottom. I'm going to crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy. You'll notice in this situation we multiplied times 4. And so that's what we're basically, we'll always have a 1 as one of our values. And so we're either going to be multiplying if it's on the crisscross, or we're going to be dividing if it's the lonely guy. Let's do another one. So we've got feet and we've got miles. I'm going to find my fact. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. So 1 mile has 5,280 feet. I know that I have 19,008 feet. I'm putting it on the bottom to match feet with feet. So I'm going to crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy. 19,008 times 1 divided by 5. Oops. Divided by 5,280, and I get 3.6. Okay, let's do another one. We've got tons and we've got pounds. I'm looking up here and I see 1 ton has 2,000 pounds. So 1 ton has 2,000 pounds. I have 1.3 tons. So I'm going to put that up on the top to match my tons with my tons and crisscross multiply, divide by the lonely guy, and I get 1.3 times 2,000. I said by 2 and I wrote by 2. That didn't make sense. Okay, 2,000 600 pounds. All right. This one isn't on our chart. I just wanted to make sure that everybody can do dozen, because if you're in 6th grade and you don't know a dozen yet, it is time to learn it. So a dozen is 12. A baker's dozen is 13. Don't worry so much about that. But if there's ever a math problem and it says a dozen, it means 12 of an item. So if we know a dozen is 12 and we have this many, 468 eggs, and we want to group them in dozens, we're going to divide that by 12. 468 divided by 12 is 39. And the last one, we have minutes and we have hours. So if I look up here, minutes and hours, 1 hour has 60 minutes. Again, you probably knew that. 1 hour has 60 minutes. And that says minutes. And I have 324 minutes. I want to know how many hours that is. So I'm going to take 324 times 1 divided by 60, and I get 5.4. I want you to know this, though. That's 5.4 hours. It's not 5 hours, 4 minutes, okay? This part right here represents the part of an hour. And if I have 0.4 hours, that's like saying I have 4/10 of an hour. And if I take 4/10 times 60, I get 24 minutes. So that's actually 5 hours and 24 minutes. Think about, if this said 5.5, it would be 5, saying the same thing as 5.5 hours, not the same thing as 5 hours, 5 minutes. Just making sure we're all on the same page with that. Okay, the second thing that we're doing is metric, okay? Metric is oh so very different. I actually like metric better when we're converting between things, because all you're doing is either multiplying by tens or dividing by tens, or you can think of it as I'm moving a decimal point. Okay, so here we've got our decimal point. It's saying if a unit's getting larger, the decimal point moves and makes the actual numbers smaller. If the unit is getting smaller, it's going to move the decimal point to the right, and the number itself is going to get bigger. So we've got all of our bases here. I like to say King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk, and that's how I remember all of those. I did not test you on a bunch of the obscure ones, okay? Those ones aren't going to be on your test because we very rarely ever hear about them in our average everyday life, okay? If you're a scientist, you'll probably hear about like decagrams and things like that. But if you don't go into a science field, you probably aren't going to hear those other ones. We do hear centi for centimeters and milli for milligrams, milliliters, millimeters. And then our base is going to be meters, liters, or grams. It doesn't have any prefix to it. Deca, hecto, okay, and kilo, kilograms, kiloliters, kilometers, right? We do hear that quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what I start with. So here I start with 3.6 meters. I'm going to go where I am starting, okay? And then I'm going to move from meters to centimeters on this little ladder. So however I move is how my decimal place is going to move as well. So if I go from meters, I'm going 2 places to the right. So my decimal point is going to travel 2 places. Switched what I was doing here. 2 places to the right. So I'm going 1, 2. If I end up with empty loops, I'm going to put zeros there. So this is 360 centimeters. Let's do the next one. We've got milligrams and grams. So milligrams to grams. I'm going from milligrams to grams. So I'm going to the left. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take my decimal point, which right now I cannot see. It's at the end. Whenever you can't see it, I'm going to go 3 units to the left. 1, 2, 3. And that gives me 0.26. I don't have to put that 0 at the end. I do kind of like putting zeros in front of my decimal point so it makes it more pronounced. Okay, the next one, I've got liters and milliliters. So I'm going, let me change color again. It's not, here we go. Let's take purple. All right, so we're going from liters to milliliters. Liters are in the middle to milli over here. But this time I'm moving from liters to milliliters. So I'm doing the same move, only opposite. I'm going to the right 3 places. So I'm going to take my decimal point. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to the right, which gives me the 3, 4, 6 in front of 2 empty loops, which are zeros. It's great if you can put a comma when a comma needs to be there. Remember, you count from the back 3 places and put your comma. Okay, the next one, we're going from kilograms to grams. So let's go kilograms to grams. 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3 to the right. So I've got 800. I'm going to drop that 0 that was in front of the 8 because it won't make any sense in my number. Okay, let's do another one. We've got 23,000 centimeters to kilometers. Ooh, we're making a big jump. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. My decimal point starts there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. 0.23 kilometers. Okay, that's kind of similar to taking like inches to miles, right? So it makes sense that it's a lot different in size. All right, and let's do one more. Do orange here. Okay, we're going millimeters to centimeters. Millimeters to centimeters. Oh, that's really close. We're just going to go one place to the left. One place to the left. So 0.2 centimeters. Good luck with the rest of your studying. Have a good day.